Hi, this is Gabor Hoichi, and I'd like to show you a really amazing tool that we built on dev.acquia.com and just released very recently. It helps you prepare for Drupal 9 and review all the status of Drupal.org project. So if you go on the Drupal 9 menu item on dev.acquia.com, this is where the fun starts. We have a documentation page that outlines what the general process is for planning for Drupal 9. This is a snippet from the Dries note from DrupalCon Amsterdam that shows the whole process of how this happens on an actual Drupal site. And then it documents the steps that you can get involved with to help a contributed project update to Drupal 9, get your own code ready for Drupal 9, or get Drupal core ready. We specifically linked in the removing of deprecated APIs for getting Drupal core ready. There's other ways to help, but this is basically the best way to start. And there's still a bunch of issues that still need people to provide patches and reviews. This would help basically define the Drupal 9 API through removing the old APIs that we're not using anymore. For getting contributed modules and for your own code ready, we list a bunch of our favorite tools: Upgrade Status, Drupal Check, and Drupal 8 Rector. And then we built this, I think, very amazing tool that lets you review project status of all the projects on Drupal.org. So let's look at this one. What happens here is we use a data set from Drupal.org that is, at the time of the recording of this video on November 20th, 2019, is 8 days old. This will be regenerated. This will be regenerated sometimes, and we'll have new data sets available. Or if you look at this data set, is basically a set of XML files that are output of PHP's 10. Deprecation checking on Drupal.org project. It is not very practical to use. So what we did here is we built a tool on top of this that summarizes the results and provides you with a lot of filter capabilities. This is running on almost 9,000 projects, and it shows that 43% of them almost have no problems found with the current tools that we have available. Even though the tools have some limitations, they find a lot of the outstanding deprecated API use in the project. There's 20% that have all of the problems fixable now, even when keeping some supported Drupal core branches in mind right now. Another almost 16% have some problems that are fixable now. There's 10% almost that need manual review. We cannot identify the version number for the problems. And there's a 4% almost that have only problems that cannot be fixed right now. So these are projects that you cannot do much about right now, but they will be fixable later. And we have 7.5% that have some issue, a composer problem, or a fatal PHP error, etc., where they were impossible to parse. Then you could also look at this from the angle of the deprecated API uses, which we count 30,000, a little more than 30,000 across all of the contributed projects, and almost 80% of them are fixable right now. Another 6% is fixable once 8.6 goes unsupported, which is roughly two weeks from today at the recording of this video. And 8% of them can either only be fixed once 8.7 is unsupported, or you need a separate branch to support them, or need to introduce backwards compatible APIs. And there's 6% where we don't really know the actual errors. And you can browse this by modules as ordered by default by usage, but you can order by total deprecations, etc. So let's look at, embed module. It has 12 calls to Drupal set message and DB select and web test base and some other things. So it's possible to review the results based on all the errors found. And it's also possible to review the results based on the error itself. So you can go here and look at what are the 226 projects that are that are involved with DB Select. And these are all the projects that use DB Select. So API module has 112 uses of them, WoW has 18, extra site info has 16, etc. So you can do you can review projects by error and go and help these projects resolve DB Select themselves. There's also documentation links here, so you can go and read the DB Select documentation on what you should do instead. So this explains that you should use the injected database and the select method on it with these arguments. So this is the projects and the errors view. You can also use the projects view for some creative data mining. So you can look at projects that have all problems fixable now, that have Drupal 9 plans, so the project maintainer is interested in working with you fixing them. And that would be 34 projects with 100 deprecated API uses. So this list is a very good candidate for working on issues because the module maintainer was highly interested in Drupal 9 compatibility. They provided you with a way to get involved through these links, and you can go and help them fix these problems. It is also possible to look at different sets of modules. So like you can look at the top 100 modules and see how they stand and filter for the top 100 modules that have fixable issues right now, etc. So there's different data sets that you can produce with the filters. And finally, there's also the graphs page, which provides an overview of the Drupal core deprecated mentions, which we are burning down. But as I've shown with the issue links, is the best way that you can get involved and help. We're tracking projects by fixability, where the green no problems found category should be increasing gradually, ideally, as time goes on. There, we are tracking errors by fixability. All of these numbers should go down because the less problems there are, the better for Drupal 9 compatibility. But as you can see, most of the problems can be fixed now. So there's a lot of things that you can work on. And we're also tracking the top 15 errors as they go down, because if you just look at the top 15 errors, it's already 2/3 of all of the errors. And this involves some file functions, DB functions, URL functions, and test functions especially. So fixing those in contributed projects should help get them work better on Drupal 8 and eventually Drupal 9 ready on time. I've also blogged about the possibility to automate these things with Drupal 8 Rector. So there is a tool called Drupal 8 Rector from Dejo Bitso that he built that already covers some of the entity manager, URL generator trait, and Drupal set message APIs. But there's more to cover here with the file and DB APIs and more to test in terms of their coverage. But if we can expand the Drupal 8 Rector coverage, then a lot of these should be covered by automatic fixes, and then we can provide that functionality for contributed modules to run and have patches to review automatically that should be able to fix these issues very fast. So this is the tool that we built to help get more people involved with solving deprecated API use. I hope this is going to be a very useful tool for contribution days at events and for people with an interest in Drupal 9 compatibility. So I hope you find a good use for this. Thank you.